Hello. How you doing? I hope I've timed that right. Because there's a slight delay, I've started that about 30 seconds early. So I'm either going on a bit early or late or whatever. But there you go. Welcome to Real Magic Review. My Thursday live, I have to think of the thing. What I do two now, don't I? Monday and Thursday. Thank you, Tom. Hey, how you doing? So I'll come to those comments in a minute. And the other comments. How are you? It's good. It's really good to be here. This is kind of the closest I get to performing, really. You know, feeling live, and the session we do on the Card Magic course in a minute. Talking of which, do please go and have a look at cardmagiccourse.com. There are some members here on the chat. I'm sure they will tell you. I'm obviously slightly biased. That it is quite good. So there's loads of videos on there. Massive course I'm building on the Royal Road to Card Magic, which is going to be huge by the time I finish it. I keep sort of making chapters and putting them on there. And of course the live sessions which are happening after this. And it's a wonderful, lovely community, and people bringing works of progress and show what they're working on. It's great. So do that. Have a look at cardmagiccourse.com, might as well. And like and subscribe. Very important indeed. So this is my Comments on Comments show. If you're watching this later, or you haven't watched it before, when I totally unplanned, absolutely totally unplanned, pretty much like all of my reviews. No, they're not. But it's I have no idea what I'm going to say, which is why it's quite funny and a bit shambolic sometimes. Last I was on Monday, went on for about 40 minutes, didn't it? Which is lovely. So it's just a bit of a hangout. You get to ask questions. I get to answer your comments properly that I've had over the week. It's been a really busy week. I get quite anxious when people have sent me things to review and it builds up a bit. I've talked about this quite a lot, and I feel really like bad if I don't do them in a certain time, and I get quite anxious. So this week I just said, look, you've got a lot of stuff to review. Let's get it done properly. And it felt good actually, so I did something every day, and I can't do that every week, of course, but I'll ask any questions about any of these things I have reviewed. So we are looking at, and I'm going to look at my screen and click around, we are going to be looking at Ignite, ACAAT, any card at any time, and of course Summit, which I put the thing out today. I really realised I was late to the game. Like I said, I get stuff off independent creators and the creators themselves. So Abstract Effects sent me Summit from America, so obviously I don't get it super quick. But I thought it was a really interesting idea, and I should think that a lot of this discussion will be about that. But I do want to go through the other things I reviewed this week. First of all, I'll go to comments. Tom, keep losing IP. I don't know what that means, but let me know. Hi, Ezekiel. How you doing? Hey, Anthony. How are you? And you, a lovely comment you wrote about my Card Magic course the other day. Thank you. And Justin, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. Spencer, nice to see you pop up there. It's really lovely. It does make one feel less alone. Being a magic reviewer can be a solitary experience in lockdown. Morning from California. Illusionist Brian Patrick. Morning, mate. Dane Smith, I hope you're well, my friend. Card Magic course is the best. Highly recommended. Yay! Rich Relish, great lecture for Cardiff Magic Society. Thank you. I do a talk on confidence, and I'm going to do that talk, Confidence for Magicians, if anybody wants to book it for a lecture, something a bit different. I also have my lecture, which is I should do more of, really. Thanks, Stuart. Same for Stuart. Alan, how you doing, mate? KDR Magic, yeah, of course, is awesome. Oh, aren't you all lovely? There you go. I can't just be reading out stuff like that. That's very egotistical, isn't it? How's it all going, Adrian? I'm good, mate. Is there a Cardiff Magic Society? Of course. I have a performing question. I'm a hobbyist, and people will ask me to do some magic. I'll usually ask if they have a deck of cards on them, and when they usually don't, I pull one out of my backpack. Yes. So you got a question? Do you keep going with that question, and I'll carry on with that. So, there you go. They always make a comment on how I had cards on me. It drives me nuts. Do you know what? I just say, I always have cards on me, and I say, I've got a deck of cards because I haven't been without a deck of cards for 10 years because I'm a magician, and that's what I do. And I can practice at any time. You're not over-justifying it, but I think that you know, it's normal, isn't it? You know, I'm obsessed with magic. That's what I do. I practice cards all the time. I get cards out instead of my phone. You know, to say stuff like that, and they quite like that. They quite like the idea of people practicing really hard to do what they love. So, yeah, don't worry about that at all. The Amazing Acrobatic Knock by Daryl. I don't actually, but I think it's amazing. The first time I saw that, it utterly fooled me. I think it's a brilliant thing, and I don't perform it, but I definitely would do if now you've said that. I'm kind of going. I want to go and have a look now. Right, let's go look at these comments. So how this is going to work is I'm going to look at a load of comments, answer them, and then we're doing the giveaway. Very important giveaway. Sebastian, who created the any card at any time, not his own, but who did he do? Oh, I'm having a mental block now. God dear me. I'll have a look in a minute. But anyway, he's going to have a look on oh, it's in front of me. Of course it is. So any card at any time, Sebastian and Philippe Molina. Sorry about that, of course. So he's giving us 2 copies of the app. It's not a copy, is it? I don't know what it is, but 2 of the app, any card at any time, which I think is really fun, actually. I thought it was just going to be a force of a time, but it isn't. You do another thing with it, and it uses a stack and all sorts of things. And I think it's a really fun, nice trick. Easy once you've got it set up, and it's not much setting up. Well, it isn't really any setup, it just does it. A couple of settings, and you'll be able to do it very, very quickly. So it's a good giveaway, isn't it? So at the end, I'll tell you what you got to do to do that, and do it. There's not thousands of people on this channel. There's 5,000 subscribers, but these videos, these live videos, you're the committed. These are long, rambly things. So by the end of it, you've probably got a pretty good chance of winning it. One day there'll be 30,000 of you entering the competitions. That's not why I do it, of course. So I'll start with the comments anytime. There's not loads actually, because some things just don't generate that many comments. People don't have that many questions. Alec on the any card at any time. This is interesting. Glad to hear they're supporting ongoing questions from customers as necessary. Ending was fantastic. Get some rest, my friend. Cool. Yeah, I was very tired when I recorded that review. It's a really good point, and it's a good point, but I kind of understand the difficulty. If you develop an app and you create a Facebook group and you go on to develop further apps, it must become incredibly difficult to keep that going and answer questions. And even though I think, yes, that's what you should do, I can kind of empathise why that becomes very, very difficult. We've kind of set up this culture now, haven't we, of kind of having Facebook groups for every trick, and they're brilliant, but at some point the creator is going to be off doing other things, and unless there's an issue, of course, which is as you're right there, that's what Alec was talking about. But just sort of random question, I suppose those communities end up sort of talking amongst each other and helping each other out, which is brilliant. And you look at people like Benke Smith, who, Q Smith, he's just so active. I mean, that is his job. That's what he does. He creates apps, and he is ready. And every time I message him, he just messages me back straight away. I'm like, how have you got the time and the capability to do this? So, yeah, a really good. And they seem to be right on it. Matthew, I love Molina's work. This is Philip Molina. He has some very interesting material with mnemonica. 2, not sure it's available in English. I'd love to know if it is actually, and where to find it. Obviously, I could Google Philip Molina mnemonica. It's very lazy of me, isn't it? So I will have a look, because I'm getting really into my mnemonica. Stefan, usually don't bother to look at Magic apps because most of them are iPhone, but this also has an Android version. Yeah, really good point, actually. And I got sent something to review recently that is only on Android, so I couldn't use it. Molly and Birch, El Birch. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. El Birch is the creator of something that he sent me called the Z system, which I know Fiddling Johnny has reviewed. And I really wanted to review, but I just can't review anything I haven't actually played with, unless it's something that obviously I can talk about that doesn't need that. But it's yeah. So it's if you've got an Android, you do lose out on a lot of these things. So yes, this is available on Android. Yeah, so that's it really for the any card at any time. I only did it not long ago, didn't I? So if you've got any questions on that to ask now, please do. We will go on to Ignite. I had a lovely time with it. If you've watched the review, and I'm not thinking you should have, it was only yesterday, and but it was. I saw them at Blackpool, and I was like, well, it's just a light, really. It does this flash. But then I just had a great time. I've really struggled with how to use flash paper, need this and this, like I said on the review. My pockets get like bits of paper on the bottom of them. It's just a really neat answer for that. there was some interesting comments. Again, not loads, but it was only a couple of days ago. Or was it yesterday, was it? It was. Everybody got... It just sums up how I felt. Everybody's got a bit of pyromaniac in them. Love fire tricks, great talk. Love your share about personal hygiene. Yes. That was just a silly thing I said in the about getting grubby hands when you're doing close-up magic and feeling grubby, and this gets rid of that idea. But interestingly, what I'll share with you, so you know so I haven't got one on me, but if you haven't seen, Ignite is a lighter that creates a spark, flash paper spark, flash wool spark. So just, and you can pulse it. It looks great. It looks really good. And I'm not even very good at it, and it still looked pretty good. So that evening, I've been playing with it. Me and my daughter watched Host on Shudder. I'm a big horror fan, and my daughter's now 16. She's getting into kind of horror. And we watched Host, and I love it. It's only an hour long. If you haven't seen it and you like horror films, it's great. It's all filmed on Zoom. So it's as if you're watching a Zoom meeting, and these group of friends get together on Zoom, all filmed in lockdown with social distancing measures. And they get someone in to do a séance. So it's quite interesting for us, and it just and it's really creepy. I've watched it twice now, but there's quite a lot of flashing and sparking in it and stuff like that. And so Gracie's really freaked out in a funny way. I wasn't being that nasty, but Gracie's really freaked out, and afterwards. Everything, when I kind of look at her sometimes and she's freaked out and go, and look behind her as if something's happening, and you can, it's so cruel. But I had the flash ready, and I just went, "What's that?" like that at the same time, exactly the same time. So the film finished, she's all creeped out. I said, "What's that?" Did the flashlight, and she absolutely just kind of lost it. It was very funny and very entertaining. So if you don't want to use it for flash paper, just use it to scare children. There you go. And about that, someone, how did you get the bear inside the lighter from Tom? Yeah, someone said about using a regular zipper with no fluid. You could do, but I think the thing about this I like is it has this dispenser thing. It's kind of the way it comes out, and you can keep it in there. And I'm sure again you could probably make that, but I think it's a nice thing to have that slide out dispense thing and put back in, and it's a nice. And again, I think you're sometimes paying for the idea that someone's put together, haven't you? Anti-Christmas, let me tell you now, Card Magic course is the best subscription for Card Magic, kind of ever. Thanks. I use it. Used to use it when I was a lot younger. Okay, I think there was a version of this before. This is version 3 apparently. So, but that's for Ignite. I'll go to questions now, and then we'll get on with the summit. What time is it? Yeah, 12 minutes. What card tricks do you usually perform? I'm having trouble finding good tricks. Oh man, well, tell me about it. It is. Do you know what? It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? I was just about to say all these card magic. It is hard to find. It's really good if you. I'll tell you what I recommend you doing. If you're trying to find card tricks to perform, and I've done this, and I still do this every now and then. Go on Magic Cafe or one of the forums and look for favourite card tricks, or just Google favourite card tricks. And there's some really nice threads of people sort of sharing their favourite tricks. If you look on 2 videos ago, when I did a giveaway, one of the things people had to do in the comments was talk about their favourite trick. You might find some good card tricks there. But usually, if you find those lists people have put together in the Magic Cafe or the Magician's Forum, where they're talking about their favourite card tricks, they're great, and the best ones for lay people and all that. You'll find things there. Other than that, Card Magic, sorry, so used to saying it, Card College, any of those books. Roberto Jobbi's got a really good eye at looking at tricks at work. So any of those books are going to have commercial, good tricks in them. He's good at weeding out the stuff that's just overcomplicated and nonsense. So I recommend looking at the Card College books for tricks that you know are going to be performable. So yes, and I was going to say something else about that. It is funny on the forums sometimes when people say, what's your favourite trick to perform for lay people, and they'll say a trick that they kind of want to sound really clever. Do you know what I mean? That's why they're saying. And you look at that and go, really? Is that your favourite trick to perform for lay people? That really overcomplicated, over slightly thing. But most people you'll find have got a very good point. Excuse me. I'm having voice therapy at the moment because I'm having vocal problems, like I said before, so I have to drink lots of water. Alan, I carry cards with me everywhere. Absolutely. I cannot remember the last time. If I haven't got a deck of cards with me, it freaks me out. What tricks I usually perform? I usually go either some sort of improvised version of Ambitious Card, really, if I really want to do something. quick. I've got lots of slides that I'm very comfortable with, palming into pockets, versions of Travelers and things like that, dive as Travelers. I tend to do if I'm no time to think. If it's a card trick, yeah, but there's apps I use a lot now as well. Steve, have you explored the Redford stack? I've heard good things and I'm curious if it's worth a look. I haven't. Like I said, I've decided the mnemonica now, I just want to get really like I don't have to think, and I don't think I do anyway, but I'm playing with that now, and I've in this lockdown I've got a lot more comfortable with it. I've always known it. I've known it for years, but just to kind of, because I've used the app a lot. So I'm looking forward to actually taking that out at the next gig and playing with mnemonica. So I haven't, but I'm sure it's great. I think they're all great, the stacks that people have put a bit of work into. And I'll share on the next week I'll be doing a review of something about stack as well, which is very interesting. Mnemonica, yeah. So I said someone on the card course actually asked a question about, do you recommend, what stack to recommend to learn? And I said, again, they're all great. When I've learned mnemonica, I wish I'd have learned Aronson, because there seemed to be more themed, I hadn't read them all, more commercial tricks suited to my style in Aronson books that were Aronson specific. But now lots of people are creating things for mnemonica, and I cited Luke Jamay's Marksman deck and the latest DMC and Phil Smith deck is mnemonica based. So, but you're all going to be happy with all of them, I think. Ignite was a great review just for the appearing teddies. I know I could have gone on for hours. The Turn and Watch Facebook group is run by customers now, which is a shame. Yeah, it's again, I haven't been on it. It is a bit of a shame when that happens, and I try and empathise in it any way I can, which is going to be interesting for what we're going to talk about next. I have a lot of magic books that I, from Adrian, want to read because I'm kind of new, but I don't know what to read. I'm thinking Mark Wilson Complete Course, Bill Tarr, Now You See It, Now You Don't, or Royal Road to Card Magic. I kind of agree. Again, the Royal Road is brilliant, Now You See It, Now You Don't is brilliant, and the Mark Wilson is just a stunning book. But I will say, they're not the most enjoyable reads. They're amazing for learning, absolutely amazing, but sometimes I learn better off something that's a little bit anecdotal and reads a bit smoother and stuff like that. So I do think you should have those books. I think they're incredible. But again, I'll always say Card College for cards if you're talking about books. Michael Ammar, I don't know if you can get it anymore, can you? The Michael Ammar Book of Magic, I think it's just called, isn't it? It's up there somewhere. It's just a really good sort of intermediate book to sort of, when you start going from kind of, beginner to intermediate. It's a great book, but all those, the Josh J book, I think the Josh J's got that Beginner's Book of Magic, which is a great book as well. If I think more, I'll be able to think of something. But I think, yeah, it's those books are brilliant, and the books you wrote are great. The Royal Road's great. Got a course on that. How do you ring and ignite in a routine? As a non-smoker, it seems strange to produce a lighter. I don't think there's anything wrong in picking up a lighter to produce an object. I don't think... I know what you mean. The other thing is I know what you mean. If they don't know you're not a non-smoker, but you don't want them to think you're a smoker. You could say something like, I don't smoke, but I've got this for this, bang, and you produce a... Zippos are expensive, aren't they? That's because they do this. Anything like that. The thing with that kind of scripting and patter is it doesn't have to be great, I don't think. It doesn't have to be really... It just have to be... we as magicians don't have to be hilarious or really witty. We have to be likeable and say things that are sometimes a bit tongue-in-cheek. And because I thought... the Rubik's Cube production is great. It's, just to pick out a Zippo and go, I don't smoke, but I've had this since the 80s. My dad gave me, bang, I've had that since the 80s as well, and it's a really 80s iconic thing. That's not good scripting, I'm not saying that. But it's something to say that makes sense, and people will kind of smoke and like you for it if you say it in the right way. So, yeah, I've got no problem with, I'm producing this because I'm producing that. We are magicians and people expect us to have these things, I think. That's brilliant, Steve. Just purchased Just a Cut by Alex Hecklow. I love Axel's, I always say Alex, Axel's stuff, and I would love it. I haven't got Just a Cut, but it's the favourite routine. Are you familiar with Alex? It's not a standard chop cup. Fantastic creation. It fooled my magic friends. I am Axel of... God, why do I keep saying Alex? I know why. It's because I'm reading it and I haven't got my glasses on. And words form into the most common thing you see, isn't it? He has actually written Alex by accident as well, just to mess with me. But he's written Axel first. Yes, Axel's stuff is incredible. I did his newspaper tear on my live show once as the opening trick, and it's so good. Is it called Newsflash? I can't remember. But yeah, and everything he makes, I think, is super good, and I would love It's a Cup. Probably a bit late to ask for a review one. Finally, how long we got? Oh God, I'm banging on now, aren't I? Thanks for staying with me. I'm finding good card tricks is finding something strong, but more importantly, working them until you are super comfortable with them. And ambitious is just as good as if you want to do it. But yeah, I think that's the case. Do loads of tricks to keep you sane, stop you getting bored. That's what I do. But just have your staple ones that you just know you can do without thinking. You know, if I'm doing something new and someone says, "Show me a trick," and if they're a friend, and I know I'm going to show them something new in 5 minutes, I get super nervous. I still do, and I don't want that in some evenings. I just want to do something that's so easy. 10 card reveal, great. Double exposure, ambitious. Be honest, yeah, cool, brilliant. So you can have a look at all them. My dad has never smoked, but also always has a light on him. Yeah, Paul Harris books are really good, funny, and they are very enjoyable to read. Good point. They're good. I wouldn't say they're all super commercial. Some of them are a bit too quirky, but most of them will go really well. It depends if you want to really blow people away or just give them a lovely magical experience. Right, let's get on with Summit. This was an interesting one, wasn't it? And I did jump out of bed this morning because I thought I need to do this because there's been a lot of talk about this. If you haven't seen it, the Summit is a trick that's created from controversy, depending on where you go, because of this idea that the trailer was, in people's minds, deceptive. And it was a little bit, you know. You can't hold... And again, we'll talk about the reasons in a minute. But you know, when someone says, it's definitely not this, it's not that, and you kind of go, well, it is a little bit. I'm not someone that jumps onto people and assumes why they did something, even if it seems very, very obvious, because I have been wrong before. So I do tend to have, and I know it's a bit woo-woo, I do tend to have this idea that people are trying their best and they're doing their best and they're not doing anything malicious. Now, that doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just saying that's how my life is less stressful for thinking like that. There could be various reasons, okay? They could have been deceptive because they want to sell more. But they know that once it's sold, people know what it is, it's going to be out there and people are going to talk about it. It could have been because they don't want anybody to watch the ad and see how it's done, because you will. If you're a magician, once you see that, you see how it's done. And there could be numerous reasons. And it's kind of irrelevant, I think. For me, what's relevant is it a good trick? And I think it's a good trick. Like I said in the review, and I only put out this afternoon, so it wasn't. I'm not expecting you to have seen it. It's not, for me, it's not a mind blower, but it's a good trick, you know. So, and it's something that if someone said, people say, how do you ask me sometimes? How do you know if it's, you know, if it feels like it's a good trick? How can you judge it if sometimes you can't go out to lay people and do it? Like at the moment, I judge it by the feeling I get. I think, right, if I was going to go to the cafe at the end of the road or to get at a gig and I was going to perform this trick, how would I feel before it? And straight away I can tell if I feel all right about it, it's usually a doable trick. It might be good, it might be great, but I feel icky about something if it's not going to play, if I know it's not going to play. So I think I can have a good feeling of whether... sometimes things storm and I'm not expecting them to in the other way around. I'm not saying that, but if it's a good trick, I can usually see, I think. So Sean says, the other brothers have been around long enough as creators. They knew what they were doing with their trailer, and that was to deceive buyers. Simple as that. It could be. Sean, I'm not disagreeing with you. It could be. It might not be. They seem like really nice people. The abstract effect guys seem really nice. You know, I said, can you send us one of these? And they said, yeah, no worries. You know, and I can't. I just don't know. It's weird, isn't it? Because you think if they did do that, they would know that there would be backlash. So I don't know what the thinking was. You know, I do know that a lot of people at the moment are stressed. A lot of people are skinned. A lot of people are struggling. And and you don't know what's going on in their lives, and I kind of try and keep it like that. But I know what you mean. Tom, okay, here goes. First pillar of magic deception, first pillar of advertising product will make your life easier. First pillar of company integrity. Tom's first law of action, nothing is easy, and in life you don't even get that. So basically the integrity thing is the issue here, isn't it? It's like I said on the review, and I don't want to just repeat everything from the review, but you don't want a feeling when you watch the ad and go, oh, like that, which is, like I said, it's a real shame because I think it's a good trick. I can't believe Ekaterina already gave you the trick of the year in her video review. Was nothing but awesome to her as a trick. Yeah, again, I think it. See, I'm not sure. See, ACAAT might have reviewed this before all the kind of, which probably did happen before all this stuff, and that's why I try not to look at the cafe before the review. I did this time because I thought what I was, not before I played with it, but then I went and looked at it. And if I'd have got this just cold, without knowing anything about it, I would probably say this is great because don't forget, there's been some really good releases, but there hasn't been loads of really good releases because people are holding back. It's lockdown. People can't get out there and perform. So people are, it is, I think it's up there with a good release. Thanks, Julian, on my comments for saying that nice thing. Magic Man, I think this trick may have been the straw that broke the camel's back. We're sick of being promised a world in magic trailers, and they intentionally mislead us by seriously bending the truth. Craig Petty said, and I agree, just put a card in the Sharpie and force it. It would have the same effect on the audience. I disagree with that. No, I don't disagree. I disagree with the, not the whole thing, but that it's force a card and put it in the Sharpie. I don't agree because when you take them through that process, that is super fair. Don't forget, you're saying, right, there's only one level of equivoke. If you do that, you don't have to use that. You can just say, right, pick a picture card or whatever. And there is, 12 of them. So the fact that they pick one, but the process of going through a very, very fair one bit of equivoke, but then the rest isn't, you can keep reinforcing with them. Look, do you want to change your mind? Do you want to get, because we're going to be left with this. So when they get back to that, I think it's almost stronger because you've gone through that. Well, I think it definitely is because I've experienced it. People like that process because they expect it. You're a magician. They expect to go on a journey with a magic trick. So a journey of whatever that journey may be. They don't go, why are you doing this? Why don't you just tell me to? I think it is stronger. It's a different thing when they feel like they've had a number of completely free choices and then they end up with that. And again, there is a way of not doing it with that, but that for me is the best way. And I think it is different than forcing a card because there is no card in this. You're doing it all in their head, and there's something very special about someone getting to a place in their head and then it becoming physical. And that's a different thing, but I might be wrong. Alec, thanks, Steve. Appreciate your honest feedback. Your perspective certainly gives me better insights to make more informed decisions. Good. That's what we're after. Thanks, Alec. I was reminded, this is from Andy, I was reminded of Steve Cook's ID2 when I saw Summit. Yeah. Looks like the new Shadow Wallet has a similar method built in too, which is exciting. Maybe the Summit trailer ought to have mentioned Equivoke Lite being rather than... Yeah, I know, that's the thing, isn't it? And I suppose they're going for that thing of going, there's a version without that. But I don't... Either you've got to go with the Equivoke. And I think I can say that now, can't I? I'm not giving it away because it's on the... They've released this video now with someone clearly doing that. Learned a lesson here. Yeah, I think so. And I think it's, you know... It was good that they came out with the whole... the video showing the whole performances. Craig Petty's done a demo that makes it easy. Yeah, he does that, Craig, doesn't he? Which is quite good. He gives you versions sometimes of doing it differently, which I don't do because I like to just keep it as they sell it. They're saying do it like this, so that's the review for me. He's really good. He'll go, oh, I could do it like this, and he knows his stuff, Craig. So he's good to really good to watch doing it with his son Ryland. Okay, it's quite a long one, so thanks for staying with me. The problem is we have too many magic reviewers. Right, good. Too many magic reviewers reliant partially or wholly on the supply of tricks from Murphy's. This is a good one. Certain channels, I'm not talking about yours, Steve, never give a bad review. Well, I have not been great on that, have I? And I can criticise myself for that. 50% of magic I come across is terrible, so the stats don't add up. Bias runs rife, and the suppliers know they can get away with murder. Right, because certain YouTube channels will big up their products regardless. I'm down to Craig, Prop Dog, and this as channels I can actually trust. I've seen this and played with it, and particularly for the obscene price and misleading trailer, Prop Dog are bang on. I haven't watched the Prop Dog one, but I shall. I tried to watch them, but I think they took it off. Lessons simply is don't trust reviews of freely received products from non-working magicians. Okay, it's really valid points. I get free stuff. Okay, hands up. There's no way I could afford to buy all this stuff. I don't get paid for this, which is why, I have been offered people to do affiliate links and stuff like that, which I won't do. My reviews are unbiased in the way that I have been sent stuff that I don't like and I don't want to review it because it's not a complete rip-off. It's just not very good. And I think there's not really much to say about this. I don't get much at all because I think people know when they've got something that isn't very good and they don't want you to review it. The only thing that I've reviewed badly, I think, are things where it's 100 quid and it's worth nothing. This is about 50 quid, isn't it? I've paid 50 quid for less. It's not a cheap trick. And I think it's, if you're going to use it, it's fine. There's a lot worse for 50 quid, but it is, you've got to know what you're getting. But it's very hard when people send you stuff because you've got to be honest about the product, but if it's something that you think someone's put a lot of work into it, but it's not me, and it's very hard to be objective about. I've got one that I'm going to do next week, which I'm really not sure about, which I'm really excited almost for people. It's an old one, actually, to show. But yeah, I kind of get what you're saying, but I'm doing my best. At the moment, I'm very, very aware that the world is a very challenging place for people, and to be very negative about. I've got 2 reviews sitting on my computer that are very negative, and I decided not to post them because I just thought, you know what, this person doesn't need it now. Something happened in his private life, and I went, it's just not going to do any good. It's not an expensive thing. You kind of know what you're getting from the ad. It's not deceitful, so I just didn't do it. But yeah, so you've got a point. Tom's getting it. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you know what it is, Tom. It's that's the thing. I've got to keep an eye on time. Martin, Circus Skills Workshop. Watched a few reviews on Summit. He's got a poor man's version on his channel, so have a look at that. It's received quite a lot of comment, not all particularly favourably, most on the issues that you summarise in your review. Ad copy, risk of giving out a card for examination, no uncut live performances. And if you're happy forcing a card, then get rid of it, having a duplicate of the forced card concealed through a Sharpie, wand or something else. Yeah, that's the same thing. I think that's a good trick, but just having a dupe and having it somewhere. But I do think, again, there's something very, very different in them coming to it, because I think people sometimes can reverse engineer a duplicate card a lot more. That's why I think it's so important to have signed card. And I haven't mentioned, actually, no Quilter's Bliss, which is the billing Sharpie, signed billing Sharpie, which is obviously a similar trick, and that's signed, and that's super strong. Again, a bit more getting into and getting out of, but that's it's just a different way of doing it, and I think it is different having there's something about you can have them unroll it a little bit sometimes in the way you show it. I don't think there's an issue about not having the card examined. People just don't want to. They see it, they can see the card, they don't think it's a different card, and they really don't. And like I said, I know it sounds ridiculous, but if I show my kids this and they don't want to look at the thing, I know we're all right, because they want to look at everything. I know which reviewers I could trust more. Sadly, there are stores just there for the sales and reviewers. They stay away from the honesty because they're afraid they won't get new things. It's a really valid thing. I have been really worried about not getting new things because I need stuff to review, and that's a real. I'm being totally honest. So, but I won't if it's not good. I'm not going to not review it well. I wouldn't lie. But it is scary. You kind of, Vanishing Ink send me stuff. They really support me. I'm worried every time they send me something that it's going to be awful. Gladly, they don't tend to send me stuff there because nobody wants a bad review, and people know that there is if the stuff isn't very good. Right. The reviewer, no reviewer can be 100% objective. You're right. We've got unconscious biases as well. Does it fit your style? Yeah. I mean, there's nothing worse than seeing a reviewer review a mentalism trick and says I don't like mentalism, because you're not going to like anything mentalism, are you? So, multiple reviews, really good idea. The stores, yeah, as I said. I hope they learn from the discussion. Yeah, it's the same. And I think, and something looks like a nice trick. They should have told us, yeah. Totally disagree, Mr. Harmon, with the trailer, so I can't buy this as they lied. And 5 hours, card 12 from Tom, who's doing the Aronson stack. Right, so that was long, wasn't it? Let's have a look at here. Are you still here? I've lost a bit on my screen. It tells me how many people are watching. So well done, if you are. The trailer was deceptive, but from the live performance, it was obvious what was going on if you were a magician. Yeah, said Ellen. Prop Dub did a really funny edited trailer of something. I'd love to have seen it. Let's have a look, just reading the comments. Surely magicians didn't think that there was 52 loads. You can. That's one of my lines. When I say something, I improvise it, and they'll just always say it. I improvised it once, and it's something to do with, just to let you know, I haven't got 52 cards in 52 different pockets. I'm not that committed, which I think is quite... Good afternoon, Stephen Chat. Hey, no worries, Magic Corner. How you doing? We as magicians might find out what's happening, but laymen get fooled easily. Yeah, they do. Sometimes we underestimate lay people, but I think again with the proper presentations, we can get away with a lot more than we think a lot of the time. Yeah, good evening from Winnipeg, Rob. How you doing? Something seemed to me to be a bit fumbly, even on the trailer. Isn't Inferno very similar in method? And who doesn't like a fire story? Yeah, Inferno's good, and I talked about this in a, so I won't go into it more. There is always something fumbly about bringing someone into play, isn't there? And that's why I think when you're performing it with a group of people, it's a lot easier, because angle, you've got a few people stood around, you can do all manner of things. Even with Omni deck and stuff, you can get something out of your pocket, and it's just easy in a performance setting. When you've got one friend in front of you, it's difficult, and I find it difficult. I have to really justify those movements, so I have to be going into my pockets for something, to look for something. But I think it won't be fumbly with a lot of practice. I think there's always a chance of fumbling, but I didn't find it as fumbly as some things. Okay, we watch review shows to get honest opinions, good or bad. Yes, absolutely. Steve, really enjoying these live comment videos. Great idea, have to listen to while driving home. So it makes great radio. And not Bill just got Vision Deck. It's pretty good tutorials, a little difficult to understand because he's French, but like the idea. Thoughts about Inferno. I always liked Inferno. Again, big fan of Equivoke ever since I learned Joshua Quinn's Deckwivoke from Paralyze. I think all those tricks are great, and I think it's a very underestimated, powerful piece of work. You know, Mark Elston's got some great work on Equivoke as well, as of many people. Right, blimey, 40 minutes, well done. Sorry about that. When I started doing this, it was like 12 minutes, wasn't it? And then, but a lot to talk about. And I hope you've enjoyed it. I do appreciate, I'm going to have to look, I can't find the thing how to turn the you know what, on the Mac, where it's gone onto another window somewhere, so I don't know how to say goodbye and press stop. So I'll press my logo thing, and then it'll be silent for ages while I lurk around trying to put the stream off. But thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. Giveaway! God, you deserve it. You all deserve one for still being here. Giveaway time. Any card at any time. Right, this is what you do. I've got 2 to give away, thanks to Sebastian. Matzak, you must comment when this is done, not here, not on these comments, but once it's up, it'll be processing for about 5 minutes, and then it'll be up on the channel. You comment, and I want you just to ask me a question. Ask me a question that you'd like me to answer on this. It can be about me, it can be about my life, it can be about you, it can be about what you want to do in your life, it can be about practice, it can be about magic, it can be about my favourite, anything you want. Ask me a question, and then I can take those, hopefully, and just work through them over the next whatever. And it's just lovely to get asked questions. So I will be drawing the winner. It won't be like the best question or anything, but all these things you write, I read and I get a lot from them. They do in some way go into feeding into what I put into the channel. So ask me a question. When this is done, go onto the video on the comments below, and that would be lovely. Other than that, please like, subscribe, share, and tell people about these shows every Monday. Sometimes they'll be on my phone because I'll be down south when I'm allowed to be. So every Monday at 5 and every Thursday at 5. So have a great one. Take care. Thank you so much. See you later.